Testing 1, 2. I think we're live and kicking. Hey guys, welcome to the Weekend News and Review. I'm Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO. Hope everybody is having a phenomenal weekend today. We are chilling in the backyard at the office down behind Sandestin and Driftwood, just taking it easy today. Jetty just got back from a prayer meeting at the church. They go and meet in for prayer on Saturday mornings, and he felt it's pretty cool, man. I'm actually proud of my son because he goes every Saturday, and this week was a special week, I think, because some of our ministers had been in the Bahamas during the hurricane, and everybody kind of lost track of them. They're back on U.S. soil, so it made him feel good, made everybody in leadership feel good, and I like that when that happens. So I'm just down here chilling this weekend in the backyard, just relaxing. We're going to go get some steaks here in a little bit, I think, and I think we're going to cook out. We're going back up to up to Hammock today to hang at the big house and hang with the family and just take a little bit of time off is what we're going to do. Hey, there's been a lot that's happened this week, so I want to cover that. But first, I want to thank Maple Street Biscuit Company for literally being just a great supporter. You guys know Freddie Sheets over at Allen's Cool Ink. All that crew over there, just phenomenal guys. Freddie takes care of me with all of my ink, so my hat's off to him. Invex, the leader in back office design. This company, Mel Atwood, leads this team. I have, man, my hat's off. I've been working with these guys I've been working with Mel for years, but working this week with him and his team, and it's amazing how they have taken and shifted everything they've done over the last few years from that old traditional network marketing, direct sales type of views and graphs and even their compensation, and they have shifted into the social selling, what we know as the gig economy. Hats off to LT and Taylor. They're doing their first gig summit this weekend in Dallas, but they have just totally revolutionized Invex, what's going on over there. Just amazing stuff. I'm blown away every time they show me a new view of what the back office experience for the reps. That's really the most powerful part to it. But they've got a great team over there. Also, the Direct Selling Edge. The Direct Selling Edge Conference is coming up the 17th and 18th of October. Just some great folks that are going to be over there. I'm going to be over there. Jay Leisner, Kevin Thompson, they're the founders of this organization. Jeff Jordan, Donna Marie Sartello, Jerry York, I think, is going to be there from By Design. Just a slew of folks that are going to be showing up. I even heard Jackie Almer may start doing a spot over there for social media. So I'm just excited. I mean, I've been blessed to have just some great supporters over the years, but definitely this round as we push this thing through, we've just got some great supporters. With that out of the way, let's look at, oh, wait a minute, I missed one, and man, he's going to beat me up later. MLM Insider, Corey Augustine. I tell you what, Corey is one of the originals when it comes to that watchdog. There was him, there was Lynn Clements, there was Rod Cook, my mentor. These guys over the years have retired. They've gone on to do other things. Corey took his family to the Philippines and has just raised a beautiful daughter. And he is back in the saddle, back in the business. And I tell you what, you can check out the page over here at Facebook. You can go to MLM Insiders. You can go check out the website. Rock stuff. A lot of guys are working with him. A lot of gals are doing some great stuff. He's put up some awesome stuff. We're starting to pull from his database now because of the stuff that he's got out. Hey, I want to do a shout out to some great people. The Purdue's, who were the master reps, the leaders over at Limu. Limu has gone through a transition. Gary has shifted over with ARCs over there, but they have just teamed up with some dear friends of mine over at, I think they pronounce it Anovate. It's Anovite is what it is. It is a Whole Foods company, but the Purdue's went over there. One of my just dear friends, I got to interview her a few years ago, Celine Lyles, has shifted her organization over there. They're going to be doing some great stuff, but the leadership over there are great folks. They're not clients whatsoever, but I do speak with Jeff Jordan, who's their Director of Business Development. I speak with Donna Marie Saratola, the Queen of Compliance. She's over there. Art Meekin is over there leading the corporate side. So they're definitely going to be a just powerful company. Their intuitiveness for what the field needs along with their product. They've got some great products. You guys can check that out. Again, not a client of ours. They're not a sponsor of ours. I just love the Purdue's and what they stand for. Selena, what she stands for. So I just wanted to do a shout out to them. Congratulations on that move. Let's look at what else we've got before we get into some deep talks. There's a lot of class action stuff going on. Matter of fact, when we talk about the gig economy these days, or cottage industry or side hustle, there's some blood-sucking, ambulance-chasing attorneys that all they seem to know how to do is find anonymous does to file class action lawsuits against a variety of companies, but specifically in this little part, direct selling companies. Unique just ended a class action lawsuit for $3.5 million. It's crazy when that happens. But the biggest one that I'm watching, there's a judge just allowed a class action lawsuit to go forward against the Donald Trump organization and against ACN. And this is interesting. And ACN's really not in this one. It's just they're going to be the premise of the lawsuit. These anonymous people say they joined ACN a few years ago because Donald Trump endorsed the company. Now, this lawsuit specifically is going to be settled in arbitration. I can almost guarantee that. But as I started reading through the lawsuit and I started seeing the fact that these are anonymous people, this is an anonymous class. Okay, that doesn't even ring a bell right. Okay, if you're going to have the gumption to file a lawsuit, then let's see who they are. Who's actually going to lead the class? Were they truly in the company? Did they do? I mean, there's so much crap out there. Here's where I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to let it lie for right now. If you're a company owner watching this, you need to check your policies and procedures. You need to get with your legal team. You need to put a clause in there, a policy in there, that people that are active or have been in your company will not join in a class to come against you, because this is just ignorant what these lawyers, and we're seeing just one or two law firms doing this. This is why I said they've made a little cottage industry, a little side hustle, if you will, out of this. It's kind of like the whistleblowers. As soon as the whistleblower bill went into effect, you had attorneys all of a sudden, they went into a side hustle and they just started sending all kinds of complaints into regulators because they get 30% of the take. So this stuff, when politicians put this crap together, it might be a good thing, because we definitely, and I'm a firm believer in consumer protection, but crying out loud, guys, talk about a scam. I think some of these class action lawsuits are just as big as scams as some of the companies that we all see out there. So this is just nuts, is what it is. So I wanted to bark up on that, talk about it. Let me see what else we've got here, because I'm going to talk about millennials and Gen Z here in a second. Oriflame, I want to talk about some stuff over on the other side of the pond. Two great things that are going on over there. Oriflame just finished up their merger. They're merging in with a Swiss company. It's going to keep their reps growing, going to keep this stuff really pushing forward. I like seeing that. Here's something else that's going on over there. Social selling and the party plan type of movement in Great Britain is just going gangbusters right now. It's really on an uptick. And I think that shows that what we see sometimes here in America, it goes funky, or what we see in Asia or Australia, it's different. When we look at Great Britain right now, what we see in the media is about Brexit, and we see their political upheaval just like we see ours. But there's a grassroots Main Street movement over there, and they're tapping into the social selling component. They're doing parties on the internet, all of the Facebook and all the stuff that's over there. But they're cranking it out. They want to hang out together. Something that if you've got a company with a party plan, here's something I'm going to suggest you do. Study how Starbucks got their start. Study what the concept was behind Starbucks, why Howard Schultz launched that company the way he did. What you're going to find is that he realized when he went over to Italy, the people just kind of hung out at the little coffee shops. They were looking for that third place in their life. They were looking for community. They were looking for like-minded people. I tell you what, that really looks like what we see happening right now over in Great Britain. You got to, pardon my neighbor's dogs, they got some ferocious little beasts over there. But that's some really good stuff that we see moving onto the other side, what's going on in Great Britain. So my hat's off to what those guys are doing over there. Tupperware, this is an interesting deal right here. And this goes right along with what I'm talking about. But Tupperware just announced that they're going to go into multiple channels. They're doing this internationally. In India, they're going to open up brand stores. And they're going to have certain leaders over there that are going to run the stores. We saw this with Avon a few years ago. So I don't know how it's going to work. I've been studying the culture over there in India. It's the largest democracy. We're going to see where they're going with that. Ought to be good. But they're also embracing a new concept, something that Organo has done now that Ash Capital's bought it. And they're going to open up authorized, or they're going to allow influencers to open up authorized stores on Amazon and some of the other third-party sites. I'm a firm believer in this. I don't have a problem with it. I believe when you have reps that are marketing your products, they happen to have a phenomenal background in social marketing, social selling. They know the internet very well. They're dominant on that. Then you let them go. You set the parameters. All of the P&Ps right now that we look at, we automatically add this in because we want companies to be protected. But at the same time, we want to open the market. I've teamed up with a phenomenal friend of mine. Not going to tell you who it is because I'm just supporting him. But he is looking at several companies that he can work with his team on so that they can go out there and say, look, how can we drive revenue to the company and we make commissions on it? A lot of them are vets. A lot of them have PTSD. They don't want to be around people. They want to focus in on what they can do. They want to hang out with like-minded folks. They want to make money. They want to change their family's life, but they're not going to do it the old school way. Guys, this is important. If you're in the marketing team over at your company, if you're in the legal team over there, you guys need to sit down and get this thing together. We can chat about it with you guys. I mean, it's big. Seeing Tupperware do this, great move. I think it's awesome to see what they're doing there. There's something else here. Let me tap on this for a second. I've had a lot of comments, a lot of questions about on Becoming God in Central Florida. It's a Showtime original about MLM, and watching the trailer, I'd say this is probably in the 80s. About the same time we saw a lot of TV evangelists leading people astray. Same mindset here, and this is why I'm bringing this up. I've studied people all my life, from the time I was a teenager, Marine, bounty hunter, to what we're doing today, studying people's how we make a living. And when you watch this trailer for this new show, and then you start looking back to the 80s, where you had a decade of what was known as the decade of greed, whether you watched the movie Wall Street, whether you saw the televangelists that were just raking in the money, and then they had their own ethical issues, or you see these guys had some great companies coming up in the 80s that are no longer in business today. Started in 79, lasted till about probably the start of the 90s, really, is when we started to see a shift more into more legitimate, more focused, not so much of this crap. And I think a lot of that had to do with the internet. The internet started popping up, so people had to change. But this show is, it does show the underbelly, the negative that helped build what we have today, what we know as direct sales, network marketing, MLM, if you will. A lot of things here today haven't changed. When I watched the trailer and I started digging into the behind the scenes on that, and then I looked at what's going on in social media, when we look at really, if we look at the Gen X, we look at the millennials, we look now a little bit at the Gen Z, we see new types of hype that's out there. We see young kids that are fast cars, penthouse condos, lots of girls all over them. I've honestly, and please don't think this is sexist, but honestly, I've not seen any hype on the internet with a girl with a bunch of guys around her. It's always one guy with a bunch of girls around her. It's about the dorkiest thing I've ever seen. But we're still seeing this online hype of the money, the glitz, the glamour. Get your jet or lease a jet, fly all over the world. This is what people are into. This is what they want. And honestly, when I hang out with millennials, when I hang out with Gen Z, when I hang out with folks that are my age, that are lower end baby boomers, Gen X, we all seem to have the same basic needs and desires, and it really isn't about driving around in a Lamborghini or Ferrari. I live in one of the most prestigious areas in the country, beautiful island, and whereas some of the guys here have exotic cars, most of them are just driving regular cars. They've got lots of money in the bank, and it's about making sure their kids can go to college. It's about making sure that they can pay for their family. I was in talking to the community leader at Maple Street today, and her concern wasn't a rich car, a fancy car, having a big house or anything. It was her mom taking care of her mom's wrist and taking her to the dentist because she chipped her tooth and doesn't have insurance. So when I see this new series on Showtime, why did Showtime do one on MLM? Why is there lawsuits right now on Donald Trump and MLM? Why is it? I don't know. Is there a connection? I doubt that. But at the same time, MLM is at the forefront, and if anybody's to blame for a show like what's on Showtime, then look in the mirror, because we need to hold each other more accountable for this. We need to stop the hype, focus on what people need, get into a new focus. If you look at what people are calling the gig economy, you don't see Airbnb, you don't see the VBMO, you don't see Lyft or Uber, any of these types of companies out there promoting all of this hype about, look, come drive for us and become filthy rich, become this, become that. No, they say, hey, if you need some extra money, come hang out with us. When you look at Nordstrom's and the Trunk Club, they're not over there saying, hey, come hang out with us and you're going to become this giant wealthy person. No, what they say is, come over here and you make a little bit of money. I think people need to go back to the future a little bit and remember why this whole industry started. Mary Kay got started because she wanted to help those women out there who it was a time when a lot of times they needed extra money, and they said, look, let's empower women, let's help them. Tupperware got into the business of helping women because the men were off at war and the women needed to make some extra money. So think this stuff through before you just allow all the crap and garbage, and then you wonder why we're getting hit by this stuff. Here's something else I want to talk about. This is going to be a longer show today because I think this stuff's important. It's been a powerful week. Vaping. A lot of you guys have been seeing the stuff across the globe right now. I think we've had 5 or 6 teen deaths. Kids have been vaping for a year and a half, and then all of a sudden they just keel over dead. So I went through some notes because, as you guys know, I was the interim COO of Isodial, one of the larger pubcos out of Canada that's into the CBD market. One of the companies while I was there that we purchased was Bradley Brands out of Arizona. Joe Bradley, phenomenal guy, has a phenomenal company, but the majority of his products were vape-oriented products. And I sit down with Joe, and I may do a live interview with him, but I sat down with him when I was the COO over there and said, explain to me some of your products, because he had half nicotine, half CBD, all nicotine, different flavors. And I said, how does this work? How does it differ from a nicotine vape to a CBD vape? And he said, well, Troy, with nicotine, it burns hotter. Your carcinogens get into the body. I'm probably not saying that right. He goes, no, what I'm found, he goes, CBD will burn faster than nicotine. He goes, and if they don't use a lower heat, if it's not low down, he goes, they can burn that stuff. It'll mess up their lungs. A year and a half ago, a lot of people didn't know what was going on with vaping. We thought it was going to be the safest way for kids to get off cigarettes. Now we're finding out that doesn't work. I've tried the vapes with CBD. I've never smoked, really. Wasn't into smoking. Never vaped the THC products at all. But I'm assuming that if CBD burns hotter than nicotine, THC probably burns hotter than nicotine. This crap gets in the lungs. It's messing these kids up. We don't have a clue sometimes. Some of the other allergens, I guess I'll use that word because this is a natural product, some of the stuff that can get in there. What I do know with my history of studying the American Indians is that some herbs are great for you and some herbs can kill you. And when you mix the two, you can mix 2 herbs that could be really good and then cause a poison. So we need to be doing a little bit more advocacy for products like vaping. If you've got a company and you're selling a vape at all, I would suggest that you put some heavy-duty disclaimers on there. I would suggest that you don't allow anyone under the age of 21 to buy your product. I would rather see you guys lose sales than have somebody lose their life over this. So I want you to be really careful, because it's just not right, what some of these kids are going through. Let's look at some of the other stuff that's been happening here. My hat's off. I tell you what, if you guys are not picking up this magazine yet, great magazine, Social Selling News. They just have some great stuff over here. Teresa Day Craighead is the, what would you call her? The editor-in-chief over there. Just some great stuff. I just want to go through, look at some of the stuff that they are presenting. Oh, this is something that's important. I put a little thing up on Facebook a couple of weeks ago. Got into a discussion about this with Jeff Welch. He's done a lot of Asia stuff, so he weighed in on this. What happened, man? I just flipped that page. Oh, right here. Health and wellness companies continue to decline from China's 100-day campaign. Listen, USANA, Herbalife, some of the others over there, China is going through this shift. I don't have a clue if this has to do with the tariffs and, the ping pong match between our country and their country. Here's what I do know. Very few companies actually register and do it right in Canada. So if you're one of these companies that's pushing a lot of products into Canada and you're not doing it right, if these big companies like Nu Skin and MetaFast and all these are losing sales, the odds are you're going to lose sales. And if you're based out of Hong Kong, it could be even a bigger problem because we see the mess that's going on over there right now. So just keep that in mind, guys, as you're working here. I want to look at something. Now, this is important. A lot of times, where's my notes on that? A lot of times we will literally talk about the millennials, constant millennials, millennial this, millennial that. I was a millennial once. Matter of fact, I laugh because when I look at Larry Thompson, Jeff Weisberg, myself, Jason Briaco, Richard Brook, Steve Wallach. I mean, the list goes on and on. We were all teens when we got into this business, okay? So we literally are just like everybody else was. And now they act like the millennials are the big deal. And that's awesome. We all kind of do that a little bit. We get a little bit crazy. But here's what I want you to understand. It's not just about the millennials. When you look at millennials, they were born between 1980 and 1994. What's that make them? 25 to 39. I've raised 5 of these kids, okay? Now, when you look at Gen Z, that's 1995 to 2015. I'm raising 7 of those kids. So I'm just immersed in these two demographic groups. And I want you to understand something about Gen Z, because some of the stuff that we blame on millennials or we see as millennials are Gen Z. And Gen Z is right now, when you look at that upper age group, we're talking 95 to 2015, that's 4 to 24. So if you look at the 18-year-olds to 24, they're looking to join a business. They're looking to do something. 32% of America right now, if I just look at America, are all freelancers. So they're looking for side hustles, cottage industry, gig economy, whatever you want to call it. They're looking for this stuff. Listen to what this is about. This is about Gen Z. Born 1995 to 2015, there's 80 million of these kids. Here's what I want you to hear. Here's what I want you to know. They're less reliant on their parents. They rely more on the internet and tech to let them start earning money. Environmentally, they're aware, they're eco-friendly, they look for healthier lifestyles. They desire fully immersed experience when it comes to education. They want low barriers of access. Some of them may enter college, but a lot of them are looking for other educational avenues, not just college. They value their individuality. Now, this one we could question because I tell you, it seems like everybody looks alike these days, but when you look at what that means for individuality, notice that most Gen Zs all have different cell phones. They have different shirts. They have different things on their shirts. They all have a purse and a pair of shoes, but they all look different. They want to be individual. They're focused on global world change, not so much national change. And that's something that if you're a global company, this could be a good focus for you. If you're not a global company, you might have some issues on it. They're motivated by security. That may be in part why we see the glitz and the glamour, because they think security has to do with houses and stuff like that. However, the majority of Gen Z and the majority actually of millennials right now would rather invest in crypto assets than in real estate. Think that one through a little bit. They like to communicate in person. They believe that they can multitask through digital connections. We could debate that one all day long. I'm not going to do that. Their attributes. They would take cool products over cool experiences. They're tech savvy. They have an entrepreneurial attitude. They're innovative. They're always turned on. They never turn off, period. They're go-getters. They're activists. They dream big. They watch 2 times the videos than any other generation does. Hello? That's why we do videos on YouTube, on Vimeo, on Wistia. This is why we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram, is because video is what they watch. They're always on that phone. And 11% of them have hyperactivity, attention deficit disorder, ADHD, whatever that's called. That's something to look at. Their work style is of a freelancer. They're not big in being told what to do. They're big in give them the mission. Just give them the mission, and they're going to figure out a way to go get it. That's what they want. That's why we see a lot of these collaborative workspaces that are in, is because these kids love that kind of stuff. They're looking for it. They would rather be an employee versus a man. Well, no, let me say it a different way. Let's look at employee, manager, and entrepreneur, and then let's look at them. 55% of Gen Z want to start their own business. 55%. They want to find a way to earn money to fund their lifestyle, something that they like to do. This is going back to the future. They would like to first try it as a hobby and then move into it and see if they can make money out of it. They're looking for entrepreneurial type. Their side gig, they want it to be internet based. They want something that they can market and they can do on the internet. So they're not real big on their hands, real big on stuff. So you need to know this stuff. You need to study the demographics. Great new book out. Great new book out on this is called Persuasion. I'd go over to Audible, pick it up. It's a great book. Teach you how to really dig in and understand the people that we're all dealing with today and what that means. So, hey, I've kept you a little bit longer, but I wanted to give you a little bit more insight today on some stuff because it's very, very important, especially going into that fourth quarter as you guys start to revamp your businesses, see what's going on. Understand, we still have some regulatory spray that's going on out there. We're studying that. But overall, with the shift that we see the majority of companies doing now, where they're starting to get into the gig economy, I think it's going to be a benefit for everybody. I'm working with some clients now, matter of fact with Mel Atwood over at Invex, and one of the things we did is we took out the non-competes and non-solicitation, because you do not see that in the gig economy. When you go out there and get a Lyft driver, as soon as he's done, if his other phone says he's got to pick up by Uber, he slaps a new sign on it. This is about collaboration. If we want to collaborate, then the company owners, the attorneys have to realize the days of the days of non-compete, the days of non-solicitation, that's over. Put the best product and the best service out there and you'll never have to worry about it. Live life humbly. Stay dangerous. Stay strong. You've been listening to the voice of Main Street America.